Hey everyone, I am Tachyon, a friend of Basement Skeleton, and on his behalf I will be commentating this video. Today I will be talking about a fun indie game. It's one of Base's all-time favorites due to its gameplay, high skill ceiling, and complete randomness that adds a lot of flavor to each playthrough. So, what is Death Road to Canada? Let's jump right in! Death Road to Canada is a retro-styled zombie survival roguelike game released in July of 2016. Yeah, it's 8 years old already, wow. It's developed by Rocketcat Games, who is known for other titles such as Hook Champ and Wayward Souls. Over the course of your playthroughs, you switch between random text-generated events and real-time combat sequences where you choose a location to loot for supplies, all while trying to avoid getting killed by the zombies and bandits. The main objective of the game is travel from Florida all the way to Canada, which is rumored to be safe from the zombie apocalypse. There isn't exactly a story other than that, but rather, you make your own as you progress further in your run due to its randomness. Most modes in the game last 15 in-game days and allow you to start off with 2 custom characters of your choosing. So you can recreate yourself and your friends, or you can recreate some original characters and a few from other games. You can also assign them differing combinations of perks and traits. These not only give you some starting stats, but also affect the way to interact with your other party members and certain events you come across. You can create up to 96 characters to use, so there's tons of room for experimenting with certain perk trait combinations. While making your way to Canada, the characters you can encounter on your way are strangers, your custom characters, or rare ones that can lend a helping hand. These rare characters can be strong, silly, and also serve as references to other games and media. Some of these rare ones are strong and have unique abilities, others are a bit situational, and others are just plain bad. Speaking of stats, there's a lot to keep track of, but here are the basics. Strength allows for swinging heavier weapons, decreasing its cooldown, and also affects what furniture you can pick up and throw. Fitness also decreases the weapon cooldown, but helps you recover stamina quicker. Shooting allows the character to have better handling of a gun, and when raised high enough can also increase the chances the bullets pierce through multiple zombies. Death Road to Canada has a simple combat system that's both easy to pick up and has a surprising amount of depth to it. But for the most part, you don't need to worry about the in-depth stuff. We plan to explain those in better detail in future guides sometime. The combat teaches you to try and pace yourself properly and punishes you for thinking you can just hack and slash every single zombie you run into. Often at times, as outside of sieges, zombies won't even bother you unless provoked, so you can very easily just run through small groups and make quick work of rooms as you loot them. Every melee weapon in this game has set stats, cooldown, and durability. Lighter weapons are fast, but either do little damage or break easily. Then there's heavier weapons that deal more damage and can often hit multiple zombies, but consume more stamina. It's best to give those to your character with the highest strength and fitness in your party. Alongside combat, these stats also affect outcomes of some events. There's also personality stats which can range from level 0 to 6, granting your character specific traits. Remember how I said earlier that traits can affect your character's interactions? This can range from having good loyalty, having high composure in tense situations, their general attitude, and smarts. A character with high wits and attitude becomes charming, allowing them to have a chance at free stat boosts, getting extra supplies after making purchases, and sometimes even help calm someone down when their morale gets too low. A character with high wits but a low attitude becomes paranoid. This lets them anticipate danger, helping your team escape most bandit attacks. They can even reveal stats of unidentified recruits to help you better decide on adding them to your team. Then a character with low wits and attitude can be so annoying that they tell people to cool it. This almost always results in a bad outcome, but if used enough times, the next time guarantees a very good result and can even unlock some secrets. Having low wits and a high attitude makes the character oblivious to oncoming danger that life throws at them, which is actually a good thing sometimes. The key to a successful run is to have a well-rounded team in both combat prowess, as well as personality and supporting abilities for you to have an easier time getting to Canada. This game doesn't really take things too seriously, as it's got a more goofy and upbeat tone compared to the generally desolate and depressing feeling of typical zombie survival games. This is thanks to its humor present in its many events. Such events include things like getting challenged by totally not Vin Diesel to a drag race, getting robbed by bandits in anime cosplay, figuring out who farted in the car, or trying to wrestle a Sasquatch minding his own business only to then realize the Sasquatch knows judo. Aside from weapons, the consumable resources you collect range from food, gas, and ammo for your guns. Food is needed to keep your party fed at the end of the day, with each character consuming 2 food per day, but there are some exceptions to this. Dogs and some other animals require only 1 food per day. Food also acts as your currency for purchasing weapons and other supplies in trader camps. Without food, your party's morale will start rapidly decreasing, meaning they will lose motivation to keep going and either start arguments, bully someone, or ditch you. Without gas or a mechanic to keep fixing your car, you're forced to abandon it and find a new one. Until you do, you get some walking events, a lot of which are bad and either damage your party, lower their morale, or both. Having a character with high mechanical or the Pathfinder perk can help you negate this. A character with a high medical stat can also heal everyone's injuries rather quickly, as long as you have medical supplies. The game focuses on 2 different segments, combat and driving. During missions, you assign one character as the leader as you gather the supplies. Before looting, you get a random selection of locations to choose from while you're driving. These locations can be something simple like an abandoned neighborhood or shopping area, or a cabin full of supplies. Each location usually has a specific type of loot that you can find and must prioritize collecting. Factories and hardware stores can have gas and factory weapons like hammers and pipes, while convenience stores and restaurants primarily focus on food. But for the latter and a few other locations, there's always more buildings for you to check inside. Unexplored buildings and rooms will have a sparkle icon in the doorway indicating that you haven't been inside yet, so make sure you check every possible building for anything you might have missed. You can leave the area at any time, even if you haven't explored every part of it, or if you just want to get out of there quickly. It's good to keep track of the time, as once it gets dark it becomes difficult to see and zombies become a bit more aggressive. Locations with a white text are your regular and easy ones, while red means it's harder but has more loot and other rewards. If you're lucky, you can run into locations marked with a flashing rainbow text, which are rare ones. Beware, as while some of these are a blessing for your run, others can be some of the hardest stages in the game. There are also sieges which happen periodically. These are more dangerous missions where you must survive for a certain duration before the game allows you to leave. They're usually 1 hour or 1 in-game minute long, but there's a couple rare ones that are 2 hours long. The final siege in the game is always 4 hours long, or 4 in-game minutes. You can choose from one of 3 modes when starting. There is normal mode, then familiar and rare characters mode, both of which increase the chances of finding those specific characters during your run. After getting your first victory on any of these, you unlock several more. Short Trip to Heck mode and Long Winding Road are 9 days and 25 days long respectively. 4 Jerks mode lets you start with 4 custom characters and mainly serves as a co-op mode, but can also be tackled in single player. Yes, this game features local co-op. On consoles, you simply need more controllers than another player can jump in. If you're playing local co-op on Steam, it's better to use a wired controller as this game tends to act weird with wireless ones. And I know this may upset some people, but this game unfortunately does not support online co-op. There is Steam Remote Play and Parsec, but both of these aren't perfect. The developers did try overhauling the multiplayer at one point, but they stated that it ended up being too daunting for the programmers, so with all due respect, please try to understand this. After beating those modes, you unlock Deadlier Road mode, which serves as your introduction to the harder variants of the previously mentioned modes. The difficulty increase boils down to having more zombies, and bandits not only demanding higher tolls, but now dealing 2 damage to your party instead of 1. You may think the easier modes just prep you with enough knowledge, but make no mistake, these modes can be balls hard, especially in the later stages, and just 1 or 2 crucial mistakes can break your run. As you keep playing, you learn to take more risks and even some sacrifices, but you will also gain more of an understanding on countering pretty much everything the game throws at you, from its missions and events. During a run, you can find collectible currency known as Zombo points. These can be found during stages or awarded for surviving a siege and beating the game. They are used to buy new perks, traits, and upgrades to existing ones to increase their starting stats and other benefits. Zombo points are also used for other enhancements to give you an easier time in your runs, such as increased chances to find rare locations in trader camps, other ways to earn points, and much more. It is recommended to first get the upgrade that increases the max amount of Zombo points you can hold. You can also increase this cap by getting your first victory and by beating Deadlier Road mode. Just keep playing and you'll eventually be able to buy out all of these upgrades. This game is also getting somewhat frequent updates. The new Omentum update came out in July of this year, adding several new events, a few quality of life fixes, 4 new rare characters, and even some new perks and traits. Just note that it is only out on Steam as of the making of this video, so the console and mobile versions will take a little while longer to receive the new content. This game is $15, but it tends to go on sale a bit often. Bay says he bought this game on Switch during July of last year for only $5. Now, for some other quick tips to help you get a head start. When starting out, it's best to have one character focused on combat, having high strength and fitness stats, while your second character focuses on support, whether it's their personality or support stats like medical or mechanical. Each stat goes from level 0 to level 6. For combat and support stats, you want to raise these as high as you can while retaining your team's roles. Remember that this is a roguelike, so you will be dying a lot when you first start playing, but don't let that stop you. Experiment with different characters and don't be afraid to see what outcomes you can get from trying certain options during events. This way, you can get a better understanding and can plan more accordingly from the next time you encounter one that's giving you trouble. In most events, certain stats need to be high enough for you to be able to pass them. Take this one for example. One of the options is for a character to challenge the buff bandits to a pose-off. When selected, it reveals the required stat the game is checking for. In this case, the pose-off was a strength check. It was already high enough, and so we passed without a penalty. Initially, most of a character's stats will be hidden, but you can reveal them through events or by raising them high enough. As you keep playing, you will discover ways to identify them without even revealing them, which adds a neat layer of challenge. For example, if a character offers to rob a trader, this means to have low composure and loyalty. If a character has the option to charm a trader or compromise with bandits, then they have high wits and attitude, or the charming stat combo. So make sure to pay attention to some of these options when they come up. During a siege, don't be afraid to bring more than you need in order to survive, but try not to fire your guns immediately as they make lots of noise which agitates the zombies, making them faster and more aggressive. You can set tactics to have your party only use melee weapons, only guns, or running away to help you get to a safer spot. It's important to cycle between melee and guns as your party will quickly get tired from just swinging their weapons, so save your ammo and any explosives you have for when you really need it. Speaking of sieges, you can plan ahead based on the current day. On modes of 15 days, sieges will always happen on the 3rd, 7th, 10th day, and then 2 back-to-back sieges on the final day. So if you get an event that will make you tired before the day of a siege, you should think twice about doing so, as being tired during a siege is almost always a death sentence. Finally, don't buy the bow and arrow perk. I'm sorry, but it's just not that good of a perk, and the only thing it has is making you suffer. And that's it! That's this overview on Death Road to Canada, and I even threw in some tips to help get you started. So if you want to check out the game, the Steam page will be in the description. As previously mentioned, Base plans to make newly up-to-date guides, and he even has a few unlisted videos on this game ready to be published soon. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, be sure to leave a like and or a comment, and share this video around. That will help him out a lot. Anyways, that's all I've got for now. This has been Tachyon, signing off.